Hey gamers and lovers of all things gaming. Before we get into it here, I want you to be open-minded. Open up Spider-Man 2 on your PS5 and walk up to any garbage truck in the game. The driver will be doing this, and if they stop doing it, then just jump and they'll start again. Now go to the next garbage truck you see and do it again. With that out of the way, we may begin. I thought people liked this game, but then I looked around on the internet and I saw two types of posts. This game stinks, and why do people dislike this game? One of those groups is disappointed with a bad product. They're critical, they recognize the flaws. The other group is dumb and just likes swinging around. That's when I realized my absurdly genius idea to make a hateful video was actually a waste of time, because a lot of people already realize the game is bad and pales in comparison to its predecessor. But I've already gathered 200 gigabytes of footage, so I have to make something with it. So here's my angle. This game is a worthless pile of junk that rivals Days Gone for Sony's most meaningless game in the last 15 years. But to make the video entertaining to watch, instead of walking you through the story and its issues like other YouTubers already have, I'm going to show you a barrage of glitches and bugs, and then I'm going to tell you how much this game costs to make, followed by how this behemoth project represents everything you hate about the state of big budget games. Bring on the glitches! I'm starting with this glitch or bug because it demonstrates a point that's hard to prove later. These glitches and bugs I'm going to show you are not something you have to look for. You can find them by landing on the ground from a swing and looking at almost anything in the game. In this clip, I just wanted to see what would happen if I got hit by a train. It knocks you off the tracks. Great, and then I fall and I land and there's a pile of garbage that's floating 2 feet off the ground. This clip demonstrates how naturally you can find things that are lazily placed and carelessly put together in this game. The first major glitch I encountered was in the first mission. The first mission in the game. While fighting Sandman, if you get hit over into this gap and then hit again, you go through the floor and are out of bounds. That's all you have to do. You can replicate it right now. Most of the buildings don't have collision, but the piles of sand do, and so does the water. Using this, you can swim around and go explore the map. Just look at all these strange houses and buildings. NPCs in this game read through tables. You would hope they'd know better than to spawn reading NPCs at the book height tables. While this NPC reads through a table, these NPCs clip into each other. Oh yeah, here's one of my favorites. The ATM machine NPCs. Here you can see the NPCs doing identical animations. I'll let that slide, you know, whatever. Then when the NPCs are done using the ATM, both of them clip through the newspaper stand, which has no vendor by the way. Only one of the NPCs makes it out to the other side. The other NPC gets locked in place in a wall. At least he's blinking. After looking at the NPC that's stuck in place, this NPC came clipping through the corner of this building. He then glitches backwards into the newspaper stand and walks out to use the ATM. While he uses the ATM, I rotate the camera to see the NPC walking out of the building. This is when I notice that there are 3 signs floating behind the door that aren't supposed to be there. That NPC then passes through this one. The other NPC finishes using the ATM and passes back through the newspaper stand. While I'm standing here watching a new NPC use this ATM, this NPC gets confused by where I'm standing and opts to walk through the newspaper stand. The NPC at the ATM finishes what he's doing and walks through the newspaper stand, where he gets stuck in the same spot as the NPC from before. Here's a guitarist who's playing the guitar so quietly it must be a mistake. When you disturb him, the guitar despawns, then he just stands there, and his friend in the homeless sitting position snaps back into the sitting pose. Here's an NPC you can push into the subway and he'll slide up and down the wall. Here's a guy feeding birds. You can scare the birds away, but he will not react. Here's a spot where all the NPCs spawn under a bridge, then walk through various props to get onto the sidewalk. This could be okay because you're not supposed to see it while they're spawning, But there's a collectible here, which means somebody working on this game either knew the NPC spawn here and put a collectible here that makes you see this glitch, or knew a collectible was here and put an NPC spawn location here that allows you to see this glitch. Extremely genius stuff going on at Insomniac. I made sure to fly away and come back to see if this is repeatable. It is. Every time. Buses in this game do not move. They never move. Anyway, the glitch is that if you throw a garbage can or mailbox or whatever else next to a bus, an NPC will come flying out of their seat and float outside the bus. Here's a clip of it happening to a different NPC on a different bus. Here's a clip of an NPC T-posing inside of a bus. Here's an NPC doing a crossword puzzle in a cemetery. Here's a car set to spawn in a pile of garbage and through a wall. Here's a lady sitting backwards on a table. I tried to freak her out enough to move by swinging around, but all it really did was make her shoes distort. In this clip, we can see how the railroads in New York City are laid out. We can see they all clip into each other and overlap and intersect with one another, and it looks good and none of it was done right and it's terrible, but who cares? Who cares? This is what it's supposed to look like. This is a fun one. This is a loading bay for a truck, I assume. There are two ladders here. One goes up to the platform and the other goes into a brick wall. This whole wall isn't supposed to be here. How is it even possible to misplace an entire brick wall with a different brick texture than the rest of the building? What was going on at Insomniac? Here we have a scrapyard magnet and you can see what happens when I disable it. And another one. But this last time, the car didn't move, the magnet moved, and the car just floated there forever. Here's how Spider-Man takes fire damage. Here's Peter Parker riding a bike. Some people you can clip through and other people you can't. They're clipping into each other. This guy over here on the driveway is floating. I just want to point out that this is the real music that plays in this section. This is not stock music I put in the game. Maybe it's stock music Insomniac put in the game, but I did not do this. This one is a real shocker. Right over here to this doorway, and there it is. Transparent heavy machinery. I don't even know what this thing is. I was thinking it's a forklift, but it looks like a little steamroller or something. I don't know. It's transparent and it's stuck in a wall. Either way, here it is. This is a good collection of clips here. The brief stealth mission in Peter's high school. Watch how the player can interact with this guy on ultimate difficulty, which is the setting for expert players who enjoy a brutally difficult experience.
Little Weisenheimer. There you are! Show yourself, kid. No more games!
That's his back sticking through his shirt.
I got you!
Here's an enemy in a mission that was stuck in this wall. It couldn't attack me or move. In this boring, horrible part of the game about nothing, if you hold down sprint while this guy rambles about nonsense, you can run in circles because they didn't turn sprinting off. Here's a bug I got that put me in slow motion after skipping a cutscene. NPCs in the floor. If you stand and watch NPCs come out of certain doors in this game, they don't actually go anywhere. They just stand in place and build a pile of people. This is probably really good for optimization. It's good for immersion and gameplay, that's for sure.
Oh, whoa, hey, excuse me.
These lines on the road glitch in and out of the ground. Here's a small area of grass that NPCs walk in a circle around. Also, you can see how horrible the pixelation is when NPCs walk through dark areas. Boop! And now this guy is here too! Here's a guy that's laying completely spread flat on the ground. Hope he's having a good time. Here's how birds despawn in this game. I don't think they even tried, not even for 1 second. Here's a guy who's welding nothing. Here are some rather frightening people sitting on benches near the water here. For some reason, they're just gray and have gaps in their models, and also they're not people at all. Not sure what's going on here, but they're always in this spot, so you can open up your game and see them too. Here's a good way to get out of bounds. Just stand between 2 subway cars while it's parked, and you can go right through stuff. Here's a big wooden wall that was put up right in front of these residential staircases that people just walk through. The big wooden fence that was intentionally placed by a real human employee in front of the residential stairs. One of my favorite types of glitches. NPC body parts being stretched out and deformed. If you find many of the ambulances in this game, the driver's arms will be stretched out 10 feet in front of them through the windshield of the vehicle. Their bright green arms stick 10 feet out of the front of the ambulance. Insomniac. In this same clip, I get an NPC to clip through a bus again. This one is a lot of fun. This bridge is placed too close to this road, so if a car takes a right turn at this intersection, whoa!
The city is so crowded. I love it.
You can go stand here and see this for yourself in your copy of the game right now. A human developer put these boxes in front of this NPC spawn door so they walk right through them. This window unit air conditioner is just stuck onto a big glass window. This guy is faking his disability.
Just a hunch, but I don't think we're getting the full story of the just thought that
This woman is faking her disability.
Put a mini treadmill under my desk and work. Gotta get my steps in.
There's a flat grass texture over this flat grass texture that has real grass placed on it. Here's another quick way to get out of the map. Just go to this place and fall right through the ground. There's no collision here. You can just go right through the ground. I found this by swinging around the map. I found this by playing Spider-Man 2. Here's a van in a wall. And there's an SUV in a wall. Here's a bunch of floating pavement. Here's a building you can see through. No walls or anything, you can just see through the whole building. In Spider-Man 1, you cannot see through this building on account of it having walls. There's a little white dev cube. Hi, cube. And if you go to this spot in Spider-Man 1, it's not there. Here's a collection of things I kept together because they're just so horrible, I can barely imagine a human being doing this. First, this pile of bricks that doesn't even connect to itself. How does this happen? Next up, we've got the box trucks that are stacked inside of each other. Not sure how this one happens either. I made sure it wasn't a random spawn by loading a different save, and they're still both here. and then I still wasn't sure, so I loaded up another different save as Miles. Still here. Here we have 2 cars that spawn on the sidewalk. NPCs just walk through them. Cars drive through them. I thought maybe this was a mistake, so once again I checked in a whole different save. Same spot, different cars. Truly embarrassing stuff. This last one is my favorite here. 2 floating chairs, a floating table, and a window box hovering 5 feet away from the window. I cannot imagine a world where a human being put these assets into these spots. They're not random either, I checked with another save. These are here by design. A real human put these assets into these spots and then went home. At this point in the video, I will reveal to you the budget of Marvel's Spider-Man 2. For frame of reference here, 2018 Spider-Man 1 is estimated to have cost between $90 and $130 million. Not too bad for a very successful, relatively well-made big IP game. Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, another Insomniac game for the PS5, is estimated to have cost about $81 million. Grand Theft Auto 5 is estimated to have had a budget of $265 million. The Last of Us Part 2, $220 million. Horizon Forbidden West, $212 million. The budget for Spider-Man 2 was $315 million. $315 million! Well, why is this such a bad thing, you may ask? Why do you even care about the budget of a game? That's what every dumb guy you've ever met before just asked. When Insomniac got hacked, a lot of documentation leaked. PowerPoint slides from a September presentation reference 6 potential areas to reduce headcount, including layoffs, not backfilling certain positions, and placing up to 5 employees on performance improvement plans which might eventually end in them getting fired. A more recent presentation than that points to potentially more drastic cuts. Slimming down a new Ratchet & Clank game and cutting new IP will not account for the reduction Sony is looking for. To remove 50 to 75 people strategically, our best option is to cut deeply into Wolverine and Spider-Man 3, replacing lower performers with team members from Ratchet and new IP. So this game was so bloated and expensive that Sony told Insomniac they have to start firing people and taking people off of new projects to save money. That's how poorly managed this project was. Another slide puts the problem more starkly. Is 3 times the investment in Spider-Man 2 evident to anyone who plays the game? Now I can answer the question, Sony PowerPoint slide. No, the game was finished, it shipped. But because it cost $315 million, it leads to layoffs and restructuring that do damage not only to future projects and development pipelines, but also to people's lives. But is it fair to point at management and say it's their fault Spider-Man 2 was a rush job? No, not completely. Remember when all the marketing for this game was Venom, 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 we are Venom? That's because Venom was supposed to be in more of the game, as well as many other symbiotes and symbiote fights. But they got cut, and you can feel it in the finished game. Nobody likes the story in this game. It's really bad. But I didn't take the time to prove that it's bad in this video, so just trust me, or watch someone else's video. But not yet, because this one's not over. And not Luke Stevens either. Luke Stevens, if this video blows up, I've got a bone to pick with you, Luke Stevens. I don't like the way you talk about stuff. I think you used to make videos that weren't so bad, and now I can tell you make glorified reaction videos, Luke Stevens. This situation reminds me a lot of another game that was horrible when it came out and took lots of work to get functioning. That's right, baby, Cyberpunk 2077, a game that's rumored to have been reworked significantly just 2 years before it was released. And when it was released, it was a disaster. So what am I getting at? Bad writing is often the source of crunch and development issues. If a whole team of developers is working on a narrative designer's bad script, and the script is getting changed and massively cut down, the finished project is not going to be good. The actor Tony Todd said they only used 1/10 of what he recorded in the final game, and he played the role of Venom. So that's at least one actor who was brought in to record hundreds of lines for a bad script that ended up getting cut anyway. Poor management and poor creative direction. Look at this skill tree, man. Such ambition, such creative direction. I love this skill tree. I was so happy to see it in Assassin's Creed Mirage, Assassin's Creed Shadows, Horizon Forbidden West, God of War Ragnarok, Ghost of Tsushima, Star Wars Jedi Survivor, and Spider-Man 2. Creatives can be just as at fault as producers. Anyways, here's some environmental comparisons. Keep the number 315 million in your head. Times Square, there it is, beautiful New York City. Bad news for Spider-Man 2 fans because Spider-Man 1 has drastically higher NPC density here. And if you think most of it looks the same, well, that's because it is. In both Spider-Man 1 and 2, NPCs are spread throughout Times Square using the same exact pattern. Both of these are captured on PS5 in Fidelity mode. Here's Harlem Sanitarium in Spider-Man 1, also known as Nothing in Spider-Man 2 because they removed the sign and the entrance. Inside the Harlem Sanitarium, you can find lots of tents, barrels with fires in them, all the stuff homeless people in New York love, some debris on the ground, a lovely red and white fountain, and then we have nothing. Here we are in Central Park. What a lovely little centerpiece that golden cube is, and look at these little golden balls that Peter can stand on too. And then in Spider-Man 2, we have nothing. At least you can tell from the way his feet are perched on this thing that he's supposed to be on the gold decorations from the last game. In Spider-Man 1, you can even interact with the cube. Here we are at the park. Lovely. A nice little stone path here leads up to the wood. Oh. A nice circular wooden path leads us around the park. Oh. At least this wall has some nice foliage and rock texturing. Oh. Well, here we are at this nice little sitting area with this wonderfully decorated fountain. Oh. It's just smooth stone now. Well, at least this piece of the sidewalk doesn't clip into the road. Oh, it does now. Look how detailed it is next to that pizza place. All those dumpsters and whatnot. You'd think that place was shut down. But there's an interior texture and everything. Looks like they went out of business. Some people here are enjoying this rooftop. Oh, they left. Here I want to point out the lovely Little Italy sign. Red, green, and white. That's the colors of Italy if I've ever seen them. Oh, now they're silver and transparent. Yeah, now the sign is silver and transparent. I guess the food here wasn't very good because everybody is gone now and these textures are broken too. Basically, Spider-Man 2 sucks. For the last brief parts of this video, I'd like to beg developers to stop making me do boring stuff in their bloated open world games. Let's watch a scene.
Okay, tell me what to do.
You've still got that 3D printer built into your web shooters, right? I need you to build something real quick. Just sent you the blueprints.
Got him. This looks like a drone. We don't spy on people, Ganke.
Oh, no. It's all opt-in. Just New Yorkers sending messages to the app, which gets routed through these drones, which I call Focused Relay Neighborhood Data Spots.
FRND. Did I just make a friend?
You did! 7th grade me was so wholesome.
Okay, now, how do we get this thing airborne?
What did you learn about Peter? What about the story of the game? Nothing? Great! But at least there was a poorly written 1-minute long cutscene explaining an in-game mechanic that didn't need to exist. Not everything needs a cinematic explanation. The sign language. I quite like the inclusion of sign language. I think it's cool, and I think that video game animation has come far enough that it can be pulled off even for a player that actually does speak with sign language. The problem I have with this is that these 3 people can all speak with sign language. So why am I forced to sit here and listen to them slowly say words and force reactions like this?
I found out that I got the Rand Scholarship.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Bro, that's like a full ride.
Just do the sign language and let me read the subtitles. You might make the argument it would be more exciting for Miles to only react to the news about the scholarship and just sign the rest of the dialogue. Whatever, the game sucks. In this part of the game, you're forced to walk around Peter's house and throw away old cartons of Chinese food. I don't even have to explain this one, man. What are we doing here? This cost them money. Some of the $315 million went to this. For Miles to get these Prowler collectibles, you have to scan walls and open doors. And you can't open the door from here or here. You have to open the door from where it swings and clips into your character model and makes the camera go crazy. Wow, dude. I'm so happy Insomniac is utilizing the open world to its full potential.
Ready to talk to Dr. Young?
You must be Peter. So nice to meet you. I think you'll like this project.
Great to meet you, Dr. Young. Harry says you're working with bees.
Yes, and it's quite an urgent situation. A full third of the food you eat every day comes from crops pollinated by bees. But worldwide populations are in steep decline, primarily due to a significant predator, the carnivorous bee wolf. So, we developed an innovative way to help the bees. Want to see how?
Whoa, this is cool.
These little drones are essentially bee bodyguards that we're training to detect and attack bee wolves. You're done, Peter.
Bees! And I just like to top off the lazy rush development with this screen that has no animation at all and is just a still image. Admittedly, the title of this video is clickbait. I thought, wow, that's a good title. I see the kinds of things normal people watch about video games on this website and I get mad because most of the time, it's some drooling idiot that likes garbage. Talking about how games used to be more fun. However, I do think this game represents what's wrong with AAA development. To recap this video, Spider-Man 2 represents poor management, rushed development, ballooning budgets, overhiring followed by mass layoffs that negatively impacted games and people, a sequel that doesn't live up to its predecessor, a game full of bugs and glitches, a game full of haphazard level design and lazy craftsmanship, a bad script. A really bad script, and an overall lack of ambition. It really doesn't get much worse than this. HBO's The Last of Us Season 1 review coming soon.